Welcome to the Marvelous Moms Club podcast. Discover yourself, break out of mediocrity, and become the mom you've always aspired to be. Here's your host, Kirsten Tyrell.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Marvelous Moms Club podcast. I am joined by somebody that I totally admire and think is the cool mom. She's somebody who's stylish and hip and the mom that we all kind of wish we could be sometimes. This is Kimi. Okay, I'm going to totally botch your last name. I should have asked you this before. You go ahead and say it.
Encarnacion.
Oh, I would have done fine then.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
I think I've heard people say it with more of like the accent to it, like Encarnacion or something.
Yeah. Well, I wait when telemarketers call. I never help them. I usually hang up on them before they can get to the name.
You're like, I know you don't know me, obviously.
Yeah,
you don't know what you're saying. So nobody call Kimi unless you know how to say her last name or you'll get hung up on.
That's right.
So tell us about yourself and what you've got going on right now and how old your kids are. What's mommy life like for you right now?
Oh my gosh, you're never at the end of it, but I'm at the point where when I had babies, I always said, wow, I can't wait till I get to where I can kind of get my old life back.
Uh-huh.
And now that I'm at that point, my kids are 16 and 18, and now that I'm there, I can't remember what I ever wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, shoot, I wish I made a list. That's what I tell everybody. Make a list. Because once you get there, you don't even remember, and you've changed so much.
Right.
With that experience. And so I'm kind of like a baby right now, just starting over. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, blank canvas.
And it's like I feel like I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. Like I'm 18 years old again. It's kind of a weird time.
Yeah. But you are starting to do stuff and you've been doing something really cool. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I started a clothing company last year called Honey of California. And that's been fun too, because my whole thing is having everything made in Southern California. I'm really big on, I'm not a big fast fashion person, so I like things that are more quality that you hang on to forever. I'm that kind of girl. And so that's kind of the things that I've been creating this year. And, Kristen, that's been hard too. Like that's been a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And so it's funny that you're wanting to talk to me now because I'm like, shoot, I don't know what to even tell her because I'm at this point where I'm trying to figure out if I want to stay on that path and really make the clothing company go, or if I want to ditch it and kind of start something else, because I'm just full of ideas.
Yeah. Well, that's actually a great thing to talk about because the struggle is real, as they say. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think that's a good example of you don't have to have life figured out even when you're done raising your kids. Like it's all you get to start over. So even if you did decide to ditch it and do something else, you totally have the freedom to do that. Your mistakes or your different paths are not even going to really affect your kids at this point anymore.
No. And I never see things as failures.
No.
I just see stuff as it's just another learning experience.
Yeah.
I'll just do it different next time.
Yeah, you just build on it.
Yeah. So like I look back on this whole year, I did runs of these really great dresses and we did t-shirts and just all this stuff that I did. I learned how to do social media and how to grow an Instagram account and like all of this stuff that I had no idea. I wouldn't do Instagram if I wasn't trying to build something. So I've learned so much stuff. And I think when I look back, mostly what I learned are the things I don't want to do. I'm not sure what I want to do, but I definitely know what I don't want to do. And it's funny because even though my kids are 16 and 18, like the other day, Rocky, my 18-year-old, said, Mom, it's nice having you back.
Oh, yeah.
You're not preoccupied constantly with, what am I going to do next? And so I'm kind of thinking at the moment just to chill out a little bit and do whatever I feel like. And if I don't feel like doing anything, I don't have to.
That's true. That's kind of the nice thing about running your own business. If you're like, I'm going to take a little break, people will miss you, but they're not going to, nobody's going to come banging down the door and saying, produce another dress.
No, nobody. I mean, people for selfish reasons. Can it?
Yeah. Please make it.
You go somewhere else and find it. But, even though you've got kids that one's an adult already and one's 16, they still love that dinner time and need someone to remind them to brush their teeth. I mean, I'm still there. It doesn't stop.
That's true.
They still need you. And yeah, even though you can go hang out with them and, we go to concerts together now and we do all
So
this fun
cool.
stuff together and they hang out with my friends that I've had forever. And,
See, just saying
but
that you can't
still,
doubt you're the cool mom because you just solidified it for everybody listening. Like, how many kids want to go to concerts with their parents? So regardless of what you think of yourself, your kids want to hang out with you. That's huge.
I know. Somebody said, "Do you really go to Coachella every year?" And I was like, "Yep, I got 2 more years."
That is so fun. I love it. That's really, really
Mhm.
cool. So yeah,
It's fun.
I've
But yeah, I
actually,
think the key to happiness is to never grow up.
well, I will definitely stick by that motto. I don't want to grow up. That's why I
No.
love Disneyland so much.
Yeah.
I don't
I
go
think,
for my kids.
yeah.
I go for me.
Right.
Just
Right.
kidding. I go for them too, but
No, it's if you didn't like it, you would find something else to do.
I know. It's true. They'd be just as happy going to a park as they are at Disneyland sometimes. It's interesting you said that, though, about them, they still need you, because I've heard that from a couple of interviews I've done with moms, thinking that once they got through the diaper phase and all that they could have more free time and it would be easier. But they said the older my kids get, the more they've needed me, because they need you on a personal level and not just like a needs level or, providing. It's more like emotional.
Yeah, you know what? I've been thinking about that a lot lately too. And what I think it is control. When they're littler, you have more control
Mm-hmm.
over the situation. And now they're doing things their own. They're cleaning their own rooms. I hate the way they make their bed. I'm like, did you guys learn anything? But when they were little, it was like, okay, 5 o'clock, let's clean up.
Yeah.
It's and we could do it together and get it done. And then it was bath time, and then it was get to watch a cartoon. And there were all these incentives to
Yeah.
just doing it on my even though I'm not a big schedule person, but doing it my way.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're doing things their way.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, wow, I feel like now I see. My mom always said, adult children have been way more work than having small children.
Yeah.
And now I can see what she means is it's a little bit more because you're so hands off.
Mm-hmm. You just have to okay, don't do that. But, I still can kind of tell you what to do, but you're still going to do what you want anyway.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Like the one was sitting there tonight, and his hair is all greasy. I'm like, okay, you are going to wash your hair tonight, right? And I think, I've been saying this for 16 years.
So you've raised some really awesome boys, though. You're the mom of 2 boys. What's that been like?
They're great. I thought that my first one was going to be a girl, so I really didn't even have a boy name. And when he came out a boy, I just thought, oh, wow, like, what does it look like down there? I've never seen like a baby boy. I was raised in a house with girls, and I was like, what do I do?
Same here. I have 3 sisters.
Like, yeah, is there a special protocol? Like, how do I deal with this? But I have loved it. I have loved having boys. It's been the funnest. They treat their moms so good.
I see that. And it totally suits you. I think you'd still be really fun with a daughter, but it's like you guys can have a little bit more, I don't know. You know how they always say sons leave you and daughters are there forever, but I can see your son sticking by you forever, and they better marry some really awesome girls because they're going to have, big shoes to fill with mom.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know about that. They'll probably end up with someone completely different than me.
I don't know.
We laugh about that all the time. And one thing I thought of later was I thought, you know what? In a way, I'm kind of glad I didn't have a girl because I really believe in raising boys and girls the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what I would have done about the whole pink thing and princess and all of that.
Yeah.
Because it's not my thing at all. And I thought it would have been fun to have a girl just to see if I could have navigated through all that. And and still had this girl that, liked to paddle out with us and go dirt biking and, do all these things like how I grew up.
I bet you would, because I have, I have the 2 boys and then a girl. And while she's, has her moments where she's girly, she still likes to do everything the boys do. And she's not even 2, like she's still going to have get excited over the same things. So I bet you still would have had a really awesome daughter too. But
it would have been fun.
Yeah.
But, well, I like it now because they bring these girls home and
you get to be that fun, I
don't have to deal with the drama and all the problems. I'm kind of like that person, that other woman that they can talk to.
That's so cool. See,
Yeah, I love it. It's fun.
you hold a really fun title, I think. You're the mom. Yeah, I loved going to those people's houses where they had a mom that was just like, let's talk. What do you want to talk about? What's going on in your life? And you're like, I actually can tell you, and you're not going to think that I'm weird.
Yeah. Well, one night Byron said, Mom, we were wondering what we all should do tonight. And the girls said, let's go to Kimmy's house. And he goes, you guys know that's my house too, right?
So how do you think you facilitated that environment where everybody wants to come there? Like, what do you think that sets you apart from the other parents? How have you been laid back but still been that authority figure too? Where do you find the balance?
Gosh. Yeah, because there are times that, yeah. Okay, well, we were thinking about this, Jay and I, because the kids were all over. And what we'll do is they'll be in our room, where we would be watching a movie on a Friday night, but you've got 20 kids in here.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just set up a little TV in our room and, we'll go watch a movie in there or, go play games up in the front. Like, I figure we're only doing this once. We get one shot with these kids.
Yeah.
And I can have my whole house to myself any night.
That's true.
So I'd rather that they're here and they're, I know what's going on, and we'll go get pizzas for them, and we just make sure that it's a cool place for them to be.
Yeah, and it is a cool place. I haven't ever been to Kimmy's house, and I should, because we're like in the same city, in the same town. Mm-hmm. I want to come over just to like take it all in, but your house was featured on, was it a blog?
Yeah, A Beautiful Mess.
Yeah, I loved it. It was so, Kimmy's got such a really cool sense of style. I'm going to link to some of her information where you can see that blog post, just so you know what I'm talking about when I say that Kimmy's the cool mom, because she really is. I definitely want to have that home where the kids want to bring their friends to my house instead of, me having no idea where they are. But
right.
I don't know if I'm going to get there. I don't know if I'm going to be the cool mom. I might be the embarrassing mom that they don't want anyone to see.
Yeah. And this is the thing too. I had help. My parents were that way. I mean, you'd wake up in high school, you'd wake up on a Saturday morning and not have any idea who was sleeping on the floor. I mean, there were guys, there were girls, there were people everywhere.
Wow.
And nobody in any trouble or, nothing inappropriate. Just kids knew they were safe to crash out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or, stay there all hours of the night. And so my parents provided that kind of home. And my parents, I still will have friends that'll go visit my parents. Mm-hmm. And so to me, when you ask, like, how do you do that? I don't know, because it's just, I don't know how you don't do that.
Yeah. It's just part of your nature and part of how you were brought up. So it's just like a really open and fun environment.
I think so. And I know there's times when Jay and I kind of have to make sacrifices too. We're like, the house is full of kids again tonight. We were really looking forward to a quiet night at home.
Yeah.
We'll just have that quiet night tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, because that's true. They're not going to be there every night of the week.
That's true. And I really do with my kids. I really have that notion that I get one chance.
Yeah. That's so true.
I have my whole life to be boring, so why start now?
Exactly. That should be like the tagline for this interview. I have my whole life to be boring. Why start now? I'll start when they're 30. But then you're going to be the grandma. You're going to be the cool grandma. So you're probably never going to be boring.
That's funny. I love hearing your take. Like, I like hearing other people's take on my life.
Isn't it fascinating?
Yeah, because, I have the same mornings as other people where I don't want to get out of bed,
Yeah.
I just sleep all day and not have to deal with certain things. I'm that same person too.
Yeah.
So that's what's interesting about opening up and sharing, and you'll probably find in your interviews that everybody's basically the same underneath.
Yeah, we totally are. And it's just the
It's what we
decisions
do
you
with
make.
it.
Yeah, totally. So one thing I really love about you too that I've heard through your sons, Kimi and I go to the same church, and her son talked in church once about how they have music in their home. There's always, something playing. There's always music on. And it's not like boring stuff either. This is not radio playing in your home. What kind of music do you guys listen to, and how has it just been that way since your kids were born?
Yeah, it has. In fact, this week, David Bowie died.
Yeah, I saw that.
On Sunday, and Monday, I texted Rocky to tell him, and I just said, David Bowie died yesterday. And his response back was, put on your red shoes and dance the blues.
Oh.
Like he already knew the lyrics. He's grown up with David Bowie.
That's
and
so cool.
When he got home from school, he walked in and it was blaring, Bowie speakers. And he said, I knew it. I knew you'd be doing this. And he sat with me. I mean, I was all teary all day. And not so much because David Bowie died, but it's just another piece of my life.
Yeah.
Like time isn't stopping.
Right.
And it's just another little reality check. But I thought, man, that's pretty good that he grew up with that. He knows all those songs. It's not like I have to hurry and give him a crash course.
No, that's so cool. It really is. That's something I want to have with my kids too, and probably don't have the same. I probably would love all the music that you've raised your kids with, but I've never been that cool. And I have a friend who has to like tell me what's cool right now and what's different, what's not on the radio. I'm very, very boring. I'm like I like musical theater and Ben loves opera, so we're gonna have a different musical experience with our kids, but still important to have it nonetheless.
Well, there is a time, Rocky was saying, he goes, yeah, Mom, I remembered when I discovered there was other music out there than what we had listened to, because I had like old 70s country and the fabulous 50s collection. And, I have this broad, and then the Smiths, he grew up with the Smiths and the Cure and he thought that was music. So
that's it.
It was funny in junior high when he discovered his own music and he'd be playing it, and I was like, oh man, this is going to take some getting used to.
Yeah.
And then Byron really likes hip hop and I don't know, like real electronic, dancey kind of stuff. So it's funny because now I'm kind of into that. Like I enjoy listening to it on my own.
That's cool. So
now
you've all branched out.
Yeah, the tables have turned a little bit, and now I'm into their stuff.
That's really fun, though.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Would you consider that maybe like a tool that you've used in raising them, or do you have a secret weapon that you've used with raising these boys that have gotten you through? Like, what's been your coping technique, or something that you've raised them? They've survived to 16 and 18. What would you say? What would you recommend to other moms who are still like in the trenches with little babies? Like me.
Yeah, we just always had fun, and I've just always been really big on treating them like people, not like my children.
Yeah.
Well, they're people, and that's always been big for me. And when they were little, man, we used to dress up and crank the music up and dance. We did that all the time.
That's so cool.
We have videos of that, and that's the stuff they remember. All that crazy dancing, and I just tried to always make it fun and not to treat them. Oh, how can I say this? Not to treat them any less than I would treat a friend or want to be treated myself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I've always been careful with the use of my authority in the house.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because JJ, my husband, he comes from a different kind of parenting, where it's more, here's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
More of there's less respect and kind of more commanding. And so, a lot of times we have to sit down and kind of talk about, okay, here's how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And so that's been really great too, is just to be on board, the two of us together, to agree on what we're going to do. Man, we powwowed seriously when the kids were little every 2 weeks.
Really?
We sat down and had to figure out, because they would rotate. Like one would be really great for 2 weeks, and then that one would go sour, and the other one would be an angel. Like they never seemed to be content at the same time. So it seems like we were constantly like, at the round table trying to figure out the next plan of attack.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. JJ doesn't come across at all like the iron fist. So I bet you've done a lot to loosen him up. Has he had any effect on you?
No, he's fun on his own. He's great on his own. So yeah. But it's funny because sometimes I'll go, well, that's how you do it, and then I'll realize, oh yeah, he wasn't raised that way.
Yeah. That's not how everybody does it. Weird.
Nope. The other thing, Kristen, was I've always been real passionate about about consequences.
Yeah.
And consequences that fit what just happened.
Mm-hmm.
And really trying to follow through and be consistent.
Yeah.
We totally blew it in the beginning. I mean, we were raising like hippie children. They had
Yeah.
no boundaries, no walls, no borders, and we paid for it. I mean, there was a time when I didn't know what to do anymore. I was starting to spank him, which was something I said I'd never do. And boy, we happened to sit down with this. We attended a talk that this woman gave, and her name's Sandy McDaniel, and she writes a column in the Orange County Register. And we heard her talk, and we met with her, and I had a telephone conversation with her, and she just turned our whole thing around. And that's what she drilled into us was, Kimi, it's all about consequence. You know, yeah, you don't need all these rules, but there have to be consequences when they're not kind.
Yeah.
So that was always our one thing, was you had to be kind. And that's a big umbrella.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can pretty much make anything fit under that this umbrella, right?
Yeah, respect and honesty and everything. Like it's all that's true. That's a really good.
Yeah, so that, you know, we got a hold of things when they were young, which was good because we were kind of spiraling out of control at first.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
Really? I've heard from so many moms that it's just way easier than they thought it would be.
Oh my gosh, serious?
Not really. No, everybody is so beyond what you think. And I'm glad to hear you say that, because that's kind of what I wanted to know too with establishing the household you have. Your kids can't just be that way without any respect or, you know, understanding of those consequences, because if it was just a free for all the time, I wouldn't see them being as well-rounded as they are. So
yeah.
So that's a good thing to go along with that. Keeping things really open and fun and interesting, but still having base rules and consequences when they're not doing what they're supposed to.
One of my sons became such a good liar that even though we would know he was lying, he was so good at it that we would start to doubt ourselves.
You're like, wait.
He and I would compare notes and be like, okay, did this really happen?
Yeah.
So what we learned to do with him was the consequence was that we couldn't believe anything he said.
Right.
And man, after a couple weeks of that, he had it. And that kid is the most honest kid.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And that's what this coach we had, that's what she said. Don't focus on his lying. Focus on the fact that you can't trust him now. Mm-hmm. So it's not like finding every lie, just even when he's telling the truth. Sorry, I don't trust you. And there were a couple of things, Kristen, that we knew he was telling the truth about, but we treated him like he was lying. After 2 weeks, he was completely recovered.
How long? 2 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's so funny. It's like the boy who cried wolf, really like learning a really hard lesson.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's pretty honest now. I mean, he might be fooling us a little bit, but I don't think so. He comes and tells me some of the craziest stuff, and I think, okay, we're doing good.
Yeah, that's good. I love it. So your kids trust you, and that's a really important thing too, especially when a lot of crazy stuff starts happening. So awesome. Well, you have been such a delight to talk to. I've gleaned a lot of good ideas, and I'm excited to, I really hope someday I can be like 10% of the cool factor that you have with my kids.
Just be yourself. Just be yourself.
Yes, that's actually something I want to talk about, is you being authentic. And I think trying to force like this style you don't have, or the style of parenting you don't have, is just going to frustrate everybody. So like you said, it was just natural for you because it's the way you were raised.
Yeah.
You don't have to be like spontaneous and spunky to be a good parent, but if that's who you are, then don't try and be like, boring, and don't try and be boring, Kimi. You're never going to be boring.
Oh my gosh. I know. And one of my sons, he really requires, like, he would have really done well with somebody who could have provided a ton of structure.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of interesting because we've talked about this a lot too, is that him having me for a mom, like this last year, he goes, you know what, I realized I needed you as my mom, because I needed to learn how to function and how to navigate through life without all these patterns and structures and without always knowing what to do. And he said, you've really prepared me for a life of who knows what.
That's awesome.
No?
What better can you ask to hear from your child?
No. Instead of, Mom, you totally screwed me up. I could never count on anything. I'm late I'm late to pick him up. He'll be the only kid at the junior high at 4:00. Still waiting for their ride, or I'm just not that person.
Yeah.
And we all try our best, but work with what you've got.
Yeah, definitely. So let's hear it. What makes you a marvelous mom, Kimi?
Oh my gosh, I enjoy it. I have fun.
Yeah, that shines through. That's definitely a given. I think that just listening, all of us could probably name like 5 things that make you marvelous, at least 5 things, but that sums it up. That's totally true. You love it and it's fun. And what more can your kids ask?
It was hard for me. I was in a rock band at the time when I got pregnant.
Oh my gosh.
My plans were never to have kids.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't even something wasn't even a long-term goal.
Right.
And when I realized, I knew something was going on with my body.
Uh-huh.
And I just thought, okay, this is weird. What's happening? That fits. I kept having to buy a bigger bra every few weeks. I was like, what is going on? And finally, my sister saw me and she goes, Kimi, you are so pregnant.
Oh my goodness.
I said, no, there is no way. And I went to the doctor and the doctor said, how far along are you? And I said, I have no idea. And she put a stethoscope to my stomach and she goes, Kimi, this baby's got to be at least 3 months old.
Oh my goodness.
So my first pregnancy was only 6 months. It was awesome.
Wow. I was hoping that story didn't end in, and then I was in labor and I didn't know.
I know. But it was funny because I had done all the terrible things that you read you shouldn't do while you're pregnant. Like I had moved heavy things and soaked in hot tubs and painted the inside of the house. And, we were performing. We were on tour, so I was jumping all over. And
what was the name of your band?
Moon Pools and Caterpillars.
Oh, my gosh. Is there stuff that I could find and link to this interview?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I'm going to search it out.
Google Moon Pools and Caterpillars.
That's
and
so cool.
We were in a movie called Wish Upon a Star, and that seems to be the thing that just keeps on.
Is that a Disney movie?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, with Katherine Heigl?
Yeah, you've seen it.
Yes.
Well, what's funny is a lot of girls who follow me on Instagram are starting to figure that out. So at least weekly now I'm getting somebody who's totally starstruck.
Oh my gosh.
That they know who I am on Instagram, and met and became friends with me, and then find out that I'm that singer in the band.
I'm starstruck now. Like when I go to church on Sunday, I'm going to be like, can I have your autograph? Can you hook me up with Katherine Heigl?
I know, really. And it's funny because we're like the prom band, We have the smallest part in there, but for some reason people remembered it.
That's so cool. I want to watch that movie now. I bet it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it is. It is on Netflix.
Oh, I'm doing it.
There's a whole new generation of kids that's watching it.
Yeah, that's so cool. See, again, how many times have I said this? Kimi's the cool mom. She was in a rock band when she got pregnant. I mean, you were instilling that awesomeness into your kids before they were even born. So awesome stuff.
Well, yeah, and that's just when, I don't know, once I found out I was pregnant, and it was like, okay, we're doing this. This is the phase. So I dropped everything because I thought I'm not a multitasker at all. I do one thing at a time, and or a bunch of things really poorly.
So you might as well focus.
Yeah, like I can't talk and cook at the same time. It doesn't work for me. So I pretty much had to just raise kids and set that music career aside, and it's the best thing that I ever did.
Well, that's awesome. See, it shows the sacrifice, but it's paid off. And now the world is going to be open to you in a couple of years, and maybe you'll start a band with your kids.
Oh my gosh, they're way better musicians than we ever thought of being. Oh, they're so good.
We'll have to find their stuff too. I'll link some of their things in there too. Are they on YouTube?
They're just kind of getting started, finding a way with what it is that they do.
Well, I'm excited to see their journey too, because with you as a mom and JJ as the dad, they're gonna do awesome things, I'm sure.
I just hope that they have fun. They're starting to ask me questions like, "Do I have to go to college?"
Yeah,
no. This I'm like, nope. You don't have to do anything.
No.
But whatever you pick, you've got to run with it.
Yeah. Yep.
If you pick it, go for it.
That's so cool. Well, thank you, Kimmy. I really have loved talking to you guys. I'm sure everybody else is going to enjoy having listened to this, and they're probably all on their phones already looking you up on Instagram and feeling like they got to hear the back end of somebody who's super awesome and famous. So
keep talking. Keep talking. Can't we go another hour?
Sure. Do you want me to keep going?
My head's going to be really big.
I know, your beanie's not going to fit anymore.
That's right. Oh, well, thanks for talking to me. It's fun when, I don't know, it's just fun when somebody's interested in what you do, because it kind of makes you assess
what you're
your
doing.
life a little bit too. Yeah, when you have to think it through.
Awesome.
You realize how much of it's intentional,
right,
rather than just kind of being through space.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, you're making a good impression. You're fun. It's fun to look up to you, and it was fun to hear a little bit more about you. I've actually learned more about you than I even knew, and I've been like, I've lived near you for the last couple of years, so this has been enlightening.
Too bad I don't have Disney passes. We could hang out.
I know, that would be fun. Maybe in a couple years when you just literally have nothing to do, you could be like, I'm gonna call Kirsten. We're gonna go ride Tower of Terror.
Yeah, get that Disney pass.
Yeah,
love it.
All right, well, thank you so much, and the rest of you guys have a great day, and thanks for listening.
Okay.